He's on meds too.
Over the past year and more, we've all missed out on a lot. Family time, graduations, weddings. And missing those events, we've missed out on even more. Friendships, connections, community, belonging. That's a long time to miss things this important. So don't miss on getting the COVID-19 vaccine. Vaccines are now available throughout Hennepin County to anyone over the age of 16. Just visit takecarehennepin.org and sign up to get yours. That's takecarehennepin.org.
Minnesota has the only original wolf population in the continental United States, and 80% of Minnesotans believe the wolf should be protected. Howling for Wolves is asking Minnesotans to respect our true wildlife manager, the wolf. Their survival is critical to our ecosystems, our communities, and even our economy. As highly intelligent animals with strong social bonds, Minnesota wolves deserve to be protected and admired. Learn more at howlingforwolves.org. Let's live and let howl.
The Department of Indian Work partnered with the Minnesota Department of Health to open the Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline. Now you can call the Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. and Saturday and Sunday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. You can also schedule a free COVID-19 vaccine at the Minnesota State Fairgrounds. Appointments are available for residents 16 years of age and older. Vaccines are available to certain residents of Hennepin, Ramsey, Anoka, and Dakota counties. Call the Minnesota American Indian COVID-19 hotline at 651-304-9986 to find out when you can get your free COVID-19 vaccination. Appointments are available April 16th through June 19th. Call the Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline at 651-304-9986. That's 651-304-9986. Hey, Ogama, I've been hearing a lot about this term, climate justice. What is that?
Climate justice is recognizing that the negative impacts of climate change don't affect all people equally. It also means transitioning from a fossil fuel-based economy to a more sustainable future. MN350 is one of the groups that's pushing for this transition to protect our futures. You can even get involved too.
That's great, especially since I'm concerned about pipeline projects like Line 3. How can I help MN350?
Just find them on Facebook or visit mn350.org.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for rain overnight with a low around 39. Friday partly sunny with a high near 60. Saturday sunny with a high near 67. And Sunday partly sunny with a high around 68. The Great Wall Restaurant in Edina provides a delicious taste of Szechuan and Mandarin cuisine. They have some delicious meat and seafood options plus veggies, fried rice, and noodles. The Great Wall Restaurant's located just north of 50th and France on the Edina-Minneapolis border. Order online at greatwalledina.com.
Portions of Native Roots Radio may be pre-recorded.
It's a good day to be indigenous.
Get up, stand up.
They are going to become more brutal.
Couldn't cut, any cut again.
Because all the hippies were trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power.
Hey, Victor.
We must live in balance with the earth.
And also with recent happenings at Wounded Knee.
I am awake.
Hey, Kadagi to all my friends and relatives in 4 directions. You're listening to Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanjahade. Hey, we like to discuss Native issues on this show. Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues. And my colonized name is Robert Pilot, and the name I go by when my creator calls me is Wakanjahade.
That means distant thunder. This portion of the show is brought to you by the Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline. Call them at 651-304-9986. They're open Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. and Saturday and Sunday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. You don't need to live in Minnesota or the Twin Cities to call them with your COVID-19 questions. They get updates every day.
Wow. Hey, we had a heck of a summer, Wendy. You know?
The summer's over. I know,
Yeah,
really.
geez.
I had to put the heat on this morning.
Oh, don't say that.
Gracie was cold.
Poor little Gracie.
She's our dog. So
winding down here, it's Thursday. We had a great show yesterday. Ogama and I produced that great seed show.
Yep.
And
I listened to it in the other room. It was really
interesting.
Really interesting. Yeah.
And just give a shout out to Double Radio and AM 950 for simulcasting that over. We had it on YouTube and Facebook at the same time. A lot going on.
Mm-hmm.
Just a lot going on, and I'm just happy to be alive.
We're all happy to be alive, Robert. It looks like he's going to sneeze here.
You weren't supposed to say anything.
Why don't we bring Ogama in with the news?
She's like in the background there.
She
We don't even know
is.
where she is.
All right, Ogama.
Oh, there
Show
she
yourself.
is.
There she is.
Hey, we do the news here, and Ogama produces the news segment here, and you don't hear anything like that over Turtle Island.
Mm-hmm.
And just a quick thing before we get with Ogama is we have our regular Robert Lilligren on today, and then we have State Senator Jeffrey Smith from Wisconsin
Mm-hmm.
on District 31. So it's a jam-packed show, Wendy.
Awesome.
Let's go to Ogama with the news.
Hi, Anim Buju, everybody. This is Ogama Ganuakwe for Native Roots Radio. As always, I like to start with some pipeline info, as always. And until June 5th, I'm going to keep repeating this one. June 5th through 8th is the Treaty People Gathering in northern Minnesota. Make sure to sign up at treatypeoplegathering.com. When you sign up for the event, you can start working out your travel, lodging, and other logistics. They have people who will reach out to you about those logistics. So just get signed up and let them know what you need, and somebody will reach out to you to help make sure you can make it over here. If you cannot make it over here and you're in Wisconsin, there will be a paddle/walk for clean water that will happen in northern Wisconsin on June 5th. It's going to take place at 1422 East Tyler Avenue in Mellon, Wisconsin. I believe that's the Mellon High School. Both the river paddle and the walk will begin at the Three River Park in Mellon, Wisconsin, and will conclude at the public easement that Enbridge purchased from the city of Mellon, where they will then feast, listen to music, and paint the forest. I'm not sure what that means, but that sounds really interesting. And I hope anybody who's out there, as will most likely be at the Treaty People Gathering, anybody who's out there from 12 to 5 on June 5th in Mellon, Wisconsin, maybe share some live video with us. We'd love to see what paint the forest means. Coming up in Minneapolis on Sunday, June 13th from 2 to 3:15 p.m. at Frogtown Farm, there is going to be a performance of a show called We Do It for the Water, brought to you by the Indigenous Peoples Task Force. We Do It for the Water is a play that weaves stories of Indigenous struggles to protect our water, beginning with saving Camp Coldwater Spring, the Mother Earth Walks, and the NACDI Walks, and the North Dakota Access Pipeline. So it looks like it's going to be a really cool outdoor performance. And the water walkers and water protectors are always presenting nonviolent messages and, uniting Native people and non-Native environmentalists. And that's really what the show is all about. The outdoor event, the people who are hosting it at Indigenous Peoples Task Force asked that you bring your own chair or blanket, but they do have accessible seating provided. And the address is at 946 Minnehaha Avenue West in St. Paul. To protect the vulnerability of those in the community, face coverings and physical distancing will still be required, even though it is an outdoor event. The show We Do It for the Water is performed by the Ikitawin Youth Theater Ensemble, written by Sharon Day and directed by Sir Curtis Kirby III. So that looks and sounds really exciting, happening again June 13th.
Yeah, they did that down in Hidden Falls just this last weekend. I saw that open theater in the area. It was pretty. I saw the pictures.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I hope we can maybe make it to that one. Two things from Montana today. An oil spill of unknown size and duration has been reported on the Crow Indian Reservation. According to the Montana Free Press, the National Pipeline Mapping System shows that there has been an incident involving a pipeline transporting a hazardous liquid between Lodge Grass and Fort Smith, Montana. According to the NPMS, there are 4 pipeline operators with oversight on the pipelines in Bighorn County where the spill occurred. They are Senex Pipeline, WBI Energy Transmission, Northwestern Corporation, and Phillips 66 Pipeline LLC. It's unknown if any of those companies operate the gathering line that is believed to be the source of the spill. The Montana Free Press first learned of the spill through communication with Richard White Clay. He has been active with the Crow Alati Association, which is an organization that advocates for the interests of landowners on the Crow Reservation. Mr. Richard Whiteclay said that another association member with an allotment near Soap Creek, where the spill was reported, told him about the spill, and he sent the photos over to the Montana Free Press. So hopefully I'll have some more follow-up on that, in the next day or two. That just happened yesterday. So as far as I know, at this point, unknown size and duration of an oil spill on the Crow Indian Reservation. Also in Montana, a visual representation of the missing and murdered Indigenous women's crisis is popping up all over the state. Tavera Photography is making billboards. Tavera Photography is owned by Jen Buckley, who is a member of the Chippewa Cree tribe. In Montana, an average of 20 Indigenous women or girls go missing each year. Native Americans account for about 6.5% of the population in Montana, but account for 27% of missing persons cases in the state, which we here in Minnesota we know that sounds pretty familiar, right?
Very, very.
Very. So one of the billboards that's gone up in Montana is on I-90 outside of Missoula, and it reads, "How many must go missing before you start to listen?" And it's got this beautiful picture of a woman with the red handprint over her mouth. They're really, really stunning photos put up on those billboards, and I'm really proud of Montana for taking that on and for doing that. Another thing we don't talk about too much here that I want to touch base on, something that's happening up in Canada. So in Canada, since August of 2020, blockades have been set up along logging roads near Old Growth Forest in southern Vancouver Island, which is up in British Columbia, Canada. These are what's called the Fairy Creek Bluff Blockade. So the Fairy Creek Blockade started as a movement to prevent old growth logging in the northern headwaters of the Fairy Creek watershed, and now has grown to at least 8 different blockades. Each are working to stop the logging company Teal Jones from accessing its cut blocks through southwestern Vancouver Island. So just yesterday, the Fairy Creek Blockade organized a group of about 100 elder hikers, and they swarmed the Royal Canadian Mounted Police's exclusion zone. It looks really, really exciting from the photos, but one of the elders that was part of the march told the press that when officers saw more than 100 seniors marching up the road, they just rolled up their police tape and left. No arrests were made, which is pretty beautiful. So I thought I'd bring that up and let everybody know.
One in a row.
One in a row.
Right on. Hey, great job, Ogama Pinigigi. Up next, we're going to be talking to State Senator Jeffrey Smith of Wisconsin, District 31. We had him on a couple weeks ago, and he's a semi-regular, Wendy.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, you're listening to Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot, and we're going to be right back after a quick, short break.
Stay with us.
Hey, Wendy, what are we doing for dinner after the show?
How about we go to J. Selby's on 169 Victoria Street in St. Paul? They have a delicious plant-based menu that's compassionate and environmentally sustainable.
I'm getting their spot-on vegan Big Mac, the dirty secret.
You can pick up and they deliver within a 5-mile radius, or you can call them at 651-222-3263 or visit jselbys.com.
Well, you sold me, Wen. Let's go order at J. Selby's tonight.
I'm hungry.
Unwanted sexting or photos, inappropriate jokes, even tickling or wrestling can feel like a violation. Catcalling, cornering, or groping, getting them drunk or high for sex, recording sexual acts without permission, hurting someone because of their sexual orientation, raping a family member, a child, a date, a friend, a stranger, purchasing a human being for sex. You make the choice every single time. Sexual violence is many things. Make a choice. Do not do it.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Hey, Ogama, I've been hearing a lot about this term, climate justice. What is that?
Climate justice is recognizing that the negative impacts of climate change don't affect all people equally. It also means transitioning from a fossil fuel-based economy to a more sustainable future. MN350 is one of the groups that's pushing for this transition to protect our futures. You can even get involved too.
That's great, especially since I'm concerned about pipeline projects like Line 3. How can I help MN350?
Just find them on Facebook or visit mn350.org.
Minnesota has the only original wolf population in the continental United States, and 80% of Minnesotans believe the wolf should be protected. Howling for Wolves is asking Minnesotans to respect our true wildlife manager, the wolf. Their survival is critical to our ecosystems, our communities, and even our economy. As highly intelligent animals with strong social bonds, Minnesota wolves deserve to be protected and admired. Learn more at howlingforwolves.org. Let's live and let howl.
Hi, this is Representative Sharice Davids from Kansas. I'm Ho Chunk, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
We are a loose nation.
Hey, welcome back to Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is brought to you by the Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline. Call them at 651-304-9986. They're open Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. and Saturday and Sunday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. They get updates every day, so give them a call.
Wow, let's give them a call. Hey, Wendy.
We should give them a call because there's been so many updates lately, right?
Right. Hey, before we get to State Senator, we're still waiting for him to arrive via StreamYard here.
Yeah.
Hey, you know, you say you're retired, but I see you like working harder than you did before. Maybe I'm just seeing you work, but maybe you can tell, you know, your interactions in the last couple of weeks with our representatives here in Minnesota and what that was all about.
Yeah, well, last week I had a meeting with Amy Klobuchar's senior legislative assistant, a group of us from the Humane Society of the United States who are all volunteers, had a Zoom meeting with her, LA, which is short for legislative assistant. We brought up a couple of bills that we want passed. And just this morning, I had a Zoom meeting with Representative Betty McCollum's legislative assistant for more the same bills that we presented to Amy Klobuchar's to Betty McCollum's. And the one that I talk about is the puppy mill amendment bill, where what we want to do is change the standards of, you know, how these dogs in puppy mills live. You know, for now, puppy mills are here. We're working to get rid of them as best we can. But in the meantime, the standards for these dogs in the puppy mills are really bleak.
Yeah.
I mean, really, they just keep the dogs alive. There's no real interactions. They don't get to leave the cage. They live in wire cages, which are really uncomfortable. They don't really see the light of day. They're in those cages day in and day out. Most of the time, they just eat once a day. We want to make sure they have access to clean water and not freezing temperatures or really hot temperatures either. So,
and, you know, one of the things that I can't say enough and hopefully bring up is that always when you're purchasing a dog or a pet, see the parents, Wendy. And also, I can't say enough, there's 4 people to every dog out there right now. Can you elaborate on that for every person?
So the homeless dog population here in the United States, every single person living in the United States, every person, every family, every person in every house has to have 4 dogs each to combat the homeless dog population. And it's even higher for cats. Everybody has to have 7 cats. So, you know, like you were saying, Robert, we all want to, you know, adopt, do not shop. And like you said, too, you want to be able to see the mother dog and the father dog, the breeder dogs.
And if you can't,
then they're hiding something.
Right.
Because a responsible breeder will want you to meet the parents.
Yeah.
They'll want to know you. They'll want to know your life. What is your lifestyle? Is this dog that they have that you're going to purchase, is the dog going to fit into your house and your lifestyle?
Every time we talk meeting the parents, I always think of that Sidney Poitier movie, Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. I don't know why, but yeah.
I love that movie.
I know you do.
I did. Guess Who's Coming. And I, you know, it's funny. I always had a crush on Sidney Poitier.
Easy.
I did.
Easy.
I mean, he's, you know, an old man now, but you are too. But just saying that I did. How about that? Yeah, it's called the Puppy Protection Act. It's House 2840 and Senate File 1385. And you could call your representatives and your your state senator and ask them to please co-sponsor this.
Well, I think if State Senator from Wisconsin, Jeff Smith, comes on, you should ask him that.
It might be I'm not sure if it's a different file number. Probably not, right? Or does it go per state? I'm not sure about that. See that?
Ask him that. I just mentioned the bill if there's one similar in Wisconsin.
That's true. I could ask him that if he ever comes on.
I know his assistant is calling him. And what's interesting I saw about State Senator too is that he was brought up in Eau Claire, and wonder if he ever heard of the Sundowners Drum and Bugle Corps from Eau Claire, Wisconsin. So
you have a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
I know. We also talked about the Prepared Act and the Big Cat Public Safety Act. And that one comes just in time because we had that big cat in Texas, I think, right? The tiger was lived with somebody who shouldn't have had the cat, and it got out and it was like wandering around. But I'm really glad that the Texas police did a really good job, held their fire, didn't kill the cat, and then transferred the cat. Actually, there are cats now in the wild. There's a wildlife cat rehab center here up in Minnesota. I can't remember the town. It'll come to me, but a whole bunch of cats from the Tiger King were confiscated and brought to that facility.
I'm so glad I never watched.
I never watched it either. I've heard so much about it. I feel like I've watched it, but I didn't watch it. I'm glad I didn't either. I'm really sick of people and abusing animals and using them for purposes that just cause them more problems. So I really am.
I hear you. And it looks like we have State Senator Jeff Smith on the line here. Let's grab him on here and say welcome. Hey, how's it going, State Senator Smith?
Oh, hi, Robert. I'm all right. I'm so sorry. I got caught up in things here at home.
That's no problem. We'll just cut your pay a little bit. We'll keep track of that. We just appreciate you coming on. Hey, I have a quick question before we get into the real questions. You're from Eau Claire originally?
Yeah. Yes, I am.
That's awesome. They were a big time back in the day when you were in high school. I marched in the Madison Scouts from Madison, Wisconsin, but enough Wisconsin talk now. Let's talk real stuff. Hey, Wendy brought up a thing here that she's working on with our politicians. Do you want to just give and see if you guys have a bill like that at all? Do you want?
Yeah. So, hi, Senator. Thanks so much for being on. I'm a humane policy volunteer leader for the Humane Society of the United States, and often, I just met with Betty McCollum's legislative assistant today, and we talked to her about the Puppy Protection Act. And what it does is it kind of beefs up the standards of which the puppies who are in puppy mills will have. So it's that's the kind of thing we're working on right now.
Do you have
one
anything
of the bills? One of the bills.
Do you have anything similar to that that's floating around?
Oh my God! Have you been reading my mind or checking me out? So I am the author of our dog breeders law that we passed in 2009, and I'm working with some folks this past year on some more legislation about how we shelter our animals and other forms of humane treatment.
Wow, Senator Smith, I'm getting teary-eyed.
That makes my heart sing.
Yes. Wendy's been doing a sacred animal section on our show since day one, so it's almost been 4 years. And what great news to hear from you, Senator Smith. Hey, I got a couple quick questions. One of them is you are state senator, and part of your district is Black River Falls, right?
Correct.
Where the Ho-Chunk Nation, my people, are from. And I know you did a State of the Tribe speech. Do you want to talk a little bit about that, or give us a little overview on that?
So, actually, John Johnson Sr. out of the Lac du Flambeau Band in Chippewa spoke to our legislature. This is the 17th annual State of the Tribes address, and he did a very, very deliberate and precise and covered a lot of ground on what we should be thinking about as a legislature and as people when we address policy and correct some wrongs that have been done in the past towards our Native friends.
Yes, definitely. So I know we only got a couple minutes here. And I'm wondering if you could just do a brief state budget breakdown real quick, or if that's not enough time, I'd understand.
Boy, state budget breakdown. I guess that's tough. Depends on any particular target that you might have.
No, it's just, nothing really specific, just something in general. But why don't we just we only got a minute left. Why don't we just do you have a website and anybody can give to your election or anything that we can just give out real quick before we end this segment?
Well, campaign wise, my site is Together with Jeff is what I use for my campaign. If you look up Together with Jeff. For my legislative campaign, of course, you can always find us under the state of Wisconsin legislature in the state Senate. A couple things I wanted to talk about. I'm really sorry that I was so late. If you have time, I would talk more about protecting the natural resources. What was addressed in the State of the Tribes, how the COVID-19 pandemic particularly struck our Native tribes in Wisconsin, the racial disparities that we're seeing all across this country. But also something that's really near and dear to my heart is the racist mascots that are still too often used among our schools in the state of Wisconsin. A bill that we did pass, by the way, to ban in 2010, but then things happened and the leadership changed in the state of Wisconsin, and they actually repealed that, unfortunately. But I'm going to introduce that bill real soon again.
Right on. Well, let's get you on again real soon. I really appreciate you, and I know you're a busy person, so I appreciate you stopping in. We'll be right back with Robert Lilligren. You're listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake.
Thanks for caring about animals. If you're hurting in your relationship or have been affected by sexual violence, you're not alone. Strong Hearts Native Helpline can help you through these difficult and uncertain times. Strong Hearts Helpline is a free 24/7 confidential domestic dating and sexual violence helpline for Native Americans. Help is available by calling 1-844-762-8483 or by clicking on the Chat Now icon on strongheartshelpline.org. This message is sponsored by the National Indigenous Women's Resource Center.
Hi, this is Ken Hageland, host of Living Healthy and Aging Well, inviting you to listen to our live call-in talk show airing every Saturday from noon to 1, where we talk about your health and your life and provide insights you need to know to live and age well. Each week, we talk with guests who provide answers to important questions regarding healthcare, elder care, end-of-life care, and self-care for caregivers, and help you and your loved ones plan for the future and enjoy your highest quality of life today. Please join us every Saturday from noon to 1 on AM 950 for Living Healthy and Aging Well.
Hello, Minneapolis. It's Randy Rhodes on your radio in the heart of the Midwest every weeknight from 10 to midnight on AM 950.
The Department of Indian Work partnered with the Minnesota Department of Health to open the Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline. Now you can call the Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. and Saturday and Sunday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. You can also schedule a free COVID-19 vaccine at the Minnesota State Fairgrounds. Appointments are available for residents 16 years of age and older. Vaccines are available to certain residents of Hennepin, Ramsey, Anoka, and Dakota counties. Call the Minnesota American Indian COVID-19 hotline at 651-304-9986 to find out when you can get your free COVID-19 vaccination. Appointments are available April 16th through June 19th. Call the Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline at 651-304-9986. That's 651-304-9986.
The weather is finally warmed up, and while that's mostly good news, there are some downsides if you're someone like me who has seasonal allergies. And it's not just the outdoors that can trigger your allergies. Did you know that as many as 1 in 5 Americans suffer from allergies caused by particles frequently found in the air inside most homes? If you or anyone in your family suffers from allergies or asthma, or you just want to breathe cleaner, healthier air, Zero Res can help. Not only will an air duct cleaning from Zero Res help this allergy season, but you'll enjoy less dust, lower energy bills, and your home will stay cleaner longer. And because no one is more passionate about cleaning, Zero Res just replaced their entire duct cleaning fleet with brand new H2 Hypervac trucks that use state-of-the-art equipment to make your home even more breathable. You owe it to yourself and your home to get rid of those indoor allergy triggers and breathe healthy, happy, and clean with Zero Res. And if you mention AM 950 this month when you call, you'll get an additional $50 off your duct cleaning. But you need to mention AM 950. Call 952-ZERO-RES or visit ZeroResMinnesota.com.
The University of Minnesota Duluth Department of American Indian Studies is accepting applications for the Master of Tribal Resource and Environmental Stewardship. With this degree, you'll develop the skills to help tribal governments manage natural resources and navigate the legal, cultural, and political contours of tribal sovereignty. And you can take all the courses online. To apply for the fall 2021 Masters of Tribal Resources and Environmental Stewardship at Minnesota Duluth, visit umdmtrees.org. That's umdmtres.org.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for rain overnight with a low around 39. Friday partly sunny with a high near 60. Saturday sunny with a high near 67. And Sunday partly sunny with a high around 68.
Get guaranteed appliance savings from Minnesota specialists at Warner Stellian. Choose from the area's largest selection of in-stock, top-rated appliances and get an extra 5% rebate plus free delivery for a limited time and only at Warner Stellian.
Anine, I'm Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan, and you are listening to Native Roots Radio.
We are Alusa Nation.
Welcome back. Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakunjahade.
This portion of the show is brought to you by MN350, a grassroots organization fighting for climate justice, and the Minnesota Indian Women Sexual Assault Coalition.
Wow, that was awesome. We got to talk to State Senator Smith for just a little bit, but the real star of the show is on now right now, and that's Robert. We have to send him another T-shirt or something because now he's going to be on KFAI at 7 tonight, and so I'm a little butthurt. I don't know.
It's a KFAI at 7 o'clock.
Yeah, exactly.
Another T-shirt. I haven't even got the first one yet.
Oh, details. Okay. Hey, we're here with the director of Native American Community Development Institute, and it's NACDI, and that's Robert Lilligren, and we like to spend some time with him on Thursday. And thank you again with your busy schedule, all your media stuff to step in with here. But really, no, we really appreciate you because we talk not only local politics with you, but we also talk national. And I know you're plugged in and paying way attention to what's going on. So welcome.
Yeah, bonjour, Robert, Wendy, Ogama. Thanks for having me. And you always give me way more credit than I deserve. I'm not that plugged in. I just pay a little bit of attention.
Oh, I like it. Humble Indian, Wendy. That's good. That's good. Hey, easy. Mutinies going on here. So, I mean, you have a lot of insight. I know we won't get into what we talked to you about, but we talked to you about a strategy after the show. And I mean, you've been around and you kind of know what's happening strategic wise. And I know we got an election coming up here. And I mean, we need to really, I say at the end of the show, we need to resist, divest, join a group, and run for office. And I know your group's going to be really helping out with this upcoming election with our native people and also our allies.
Yeah. So I think in your little list of you join a group, run for office, I think I've done all of that. Divest, So yeah, this is a municipal election year here in Minneapolis. We have elections in the op years, the odd numbered years, and it's really heating up. Right now, we're in the party endorsing caucus and convention season. So, of course, I'm a delegate to my ward convention to give the endorsement to a city council candidate, and I think I made it to the city convention as well. And so all of a sudden, I'm the most popular person. I'm getting contacted by campaigns maybe half a dozen times a day, and I'm sure that'll increase.
Well, I know I have the school board here in St. Paul contact.
Oh, yeah.
I think I know who I'm going to vote for, but I'm still stringing along to hear what they,
Make them work for it. Make them work for it.
Right. Hey, speaking of what, Robert, you really helped us here. I will know next Wednesday, Wendy.
Wednesday, yeah.
If I'm going to be a legislator with Ho-Chunk Nation, so in Wisconsin, and we're District 4, which is everywhere but Wisconsin. But again, Peeny Gigi for all your support and help with our running.
Thanks. You're very kind. I gave you a little bit of advice in the beginning. You took it and ran with it. So you've run a great campaign as far as I can see. And fingers crossed. I think you'd be a great legislator, and the Ho-Chunk Nation would be lucky to have you.
Oh, wow. Thank you, Peeny Gigi. So, I want to shift really quick, if you don't mind, to national, and the former president may be going into jail here. Have you been keeping on top of that, or are we just fingers crossed? Exactly.
I've been following it, and the grand jury's been impaneled in New York, and so that's a step, right? And they wouldn't convene or impanel a grand jury unless there was something for them to consider. So we shall see, and I think it's important for this country and for our democracy in general that actions have consequences, even the actions of people in the highest office in the land. And so the reason I cross my fingers is I hope justice is served.
Right. And my hope, Robert, is that we can kill cut the head off the snake of this whole all this, fake news, fake election, all that people. And I just hope they can do that by going after the lead guy. Wendy?
No, I was just going to say, and also they need to investigate what happened on January 6th and stop pretending that it was tourists that were at the state capitol.
Right. Yeah, it's not even reality based. It's so scary. I was just reading an article before I came on air about Representative Green and Representative Gates, and Green is saying that they are taking charge of the GOP, and they'll have no tolerance for anyone who hates Trump, any Republican, and that's a big deal thing, right? It's a national party, a major party, and if that's who the party is choosing to allow to take charge of their message, of their platform, that is pretty scary stuff.
Right. Where's the reasonable? I know years ago, and I think you probably even dealt with this in your political career, is that you were still friends with the opposition. You just were seeing things maybe differently. You'd go out and have dinner with them. And I know back in the day, Ted Kennedy's best friend was a Republican, and I can't think of his name right now, but that was so long ago. But you know what I mean? It's like,
yeah.
It's not even close to that anymore.
I mean, politics, when it's working, as the art of compromise, right? And, I was taught very early in my political career that there's never a last act. And so I can never treat an opponent like this is the last conversation we'll have, that it's absolute, I always have to acknowledge that I might need your support tomorrow or next week or next year. And so how do you keep that relationship going? And now it just seems to be only about brinksmanship and who can one-up whom, and there just doesn't seem to be any willingness to create even the space to have a conversation about compromise.
And too, locally here in Minnesota, it's coming out that the speaker was having people run against people in the and marijuana, just to take votes from the Democrats. That's going to be coming out real big soon.
Right, that was really common. There were a couple of races that were really close because there was a shadow candidate or a ghost candidate that was just run to siphon votes off. And it's so interesting here. We have the sole example in the country right now of a bicameral government that's split by party, and so it says something about Minnesota for sure, and it makes legislating very interesting. Just listening to your last guest, they couldn't finish their work, so they'll have to come back in special session to finish what we elected them to do.
Right, and then we know our senators and House representatives have been working full time, and a lot of it has to do because of COVID, but also because they can't get things done, right?
Yeah, yep, and again, it's just going back to that idea. We want you to compromise. We want you to find common ground, and it's disappointing when that can't happen.
Yeah. Wow, I'm looking at your fireplace. You have a really beautiful house.
Oh, thanks. I will say this. One of the things I love about COVID, my house looks much grander on camera than it really does in real life. So yeah, so I am kind of tickled by that. So thank you.
Hey, so can you stay on another segment with us?
Sure.
Well, if you don't mind, why don't you talk a little bit about what you're going to be doing at 7:00? The last couple minutes we have of this segment.
Oh yeah, thanks. There's a local community radio station, very high profile, very well known, KFAI. I know you're very familiar with it. And they have a show called Fresh Fruit Radio, which is long running, decades long. I remember listening to it when I was young, and it's a LGBTQ interest radio spot. And a native guy, Alfred Walking Bull, is one of the hosts, and he's invited me to be on. And it's the first time I've ever been on Fresh Fruit Radio in all these years. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Wow, that is cool. And as probably some of you know, we do the best of Native Roots Radio on KFA on Fridays. They're played at 7:00. So Native Roots Radio is all over the place. And I think we're going to probably maybe overexpose you on that station, Robert. We'll probably go as the best of.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, I love KFAI. I love going there. This is the first time I've done a remote interview. I've always gone into the studio on the West Bank. It's such a cool station.
Yeah, and then the restaurant below it and just the whole vibe over there right by the U. Yeah, I really like it too. I kind of miss going over there, but I also really love the setup we have here, Wendy.
Very convenient.
A short commute.
Yep.
Right. Well, Wendy had some Zooms with some politicians today that I don't know if you heard earlier on, but she's working hard and doing her thing here, and I'm really proud of her. And we don't have to leave the house like we used to, but it's kind of fun though to be, face to face with the politicians or get to the Capitol because of the beautiful building and all those things.
I would rather meet much in person better than Zoom, although it is very convenient. Yeah, I met with legislative assistant today of Representative Betty McCollum.
Oh, great.
About a few bills today. So that was kind of fun and interesting. Yeah.
Wow. Well, hey, we're here with Robert Lilligren, director of the Native American Community Development Institute here in Minneapolis. And we're going to take a short break and have Robert on because he might get an agent now, and he might
right
for us
burgeoning media career.
Yeah, we have to bleed this out as long as we can. Well, we know you're you went to school for this, so we're keeping an eye on you. All right.
Yeah,
hey, you're listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and we'll be right back after this short break.
Stay with us.
Over the past year and more, we've all missed out on a lot. Family time, graduations, weddings. And missing those events, we've missed out on even more. Friendships, connections, community, belonging. That's a long time to miss things this important. So don't miss on getting the COVID-19 vaccine. Vaccines are now available throughout Hennepin County to anyone over the age of 16. Just visit takecarehennepin.org and sign up to get yours. That's takecarehennepin.org.
The University of Minnesota Duluth Department of American Indian Studies is accepting applications for their Master of Tribal Administration and Governance. This degree is designed to develop the knowledge needed to work as an administrator in tribal government. Plus, you'll learn about the principles of sovereignty, ethics, law, budgets, and leadership. And you can take all the courses online. To apply for the fall 2021 Master of Tribal Administration and Governance at Minnesota Duluth, visit umdmtag.org. That's umdmtag.org.
Hey, Cudahy to all my friends and relatives in 4 directions. This is Robert Pilot of Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake. I'm here to ask you for your support. Finding honest Native-centered news is not easy. But with your support, we're able to provide accurate information about Standing Rock, Line 3, treaty violations, and COVID-19 in our Native communities. Please visit Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon and donate if you can. That's Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon. Pinigigi, and thank you for your support.
Hey, Ogama, I've been hearing a lot about this term, climate justice. What is that?
Climate justice is recognizing that the negative impacts of climate change don't affect all people equally. It also means transitioning from a fossil fuel-based economy to a more sustainable future. MN350 is one of the groups that's pushing for this transition to protect our futures. You can even get involved too.
That's great, especially since I'm concerned about pipeline projects like Line 3. How can I help MN350?
Just find them on Facebook or visit mn350.org.
This is Winona LaDuke of Honor the Earth, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio. I'm Awake.
We are Alusa Nation.
Hey, welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is brought to you by Howling for Wolves, protecting wolves for future generations.
Ooh.
Oh, I heard Robert Lilligren.
There
Cool.
you go.
Hey, we're here. This is Native Roots Radio, and here with Robert Lilligren, who is Director of Native American Community Development Institute in Minneapolis. We're always really happy to have him on Thursdays. And one of the things I'd really like to talk to you about this, the final segment here, is just what's happening in Minneapolis and what he sees going on, just in general with your end of with your part of the city. I can't talk.
Yeah, thanks for asking, Robert. And again, thanks, Robert, Wendy, Ogama, for having me on. It's always a pleasure. And there's a lot going on in Minneapolis. And, I would say this week has been pretty much dominated by sort of the reverberations of George Floyd's murder 1 year ago, right here. And we've had a lot of media attention, world attention, but just a lot going on at the community level. And it'll be 1 year ago tomorrow that one of our beloved institutions, Migizi Communications building burned down. And for folks who don't know, it's just an incredible nonprofit organization that's concerned with youth development and education and media. And really, really strong institution founded by Laura Waterman Whitstock, an elder here, that my sister actually was one of the first, if not the first, paid employee of Migizi way back in the 70s. Yeah. And so they had just opened this gorgeous new building that their students had helped design the space, and it was incredible. I'm sure you guys had been there. And
yeah.
And, it's literally across the street from the 3rd precinct, the 3rd police precinct in Minneapolis that burned. And the community was protecting the space. It was never vandalized. And unfortunately, as the buildings around it caught fire and burned, Migizi burned as well. And so tomorrow morning, we're meeting at the old site of Migizi. It's 3017 27th Avenue South here in Minneapolis. And there'll be a ceremony there. And then we're walking to their new building. They have found a new space in just the short span of a year. They've raised enough funds to renovate the space. They'll start engaging their students and community in what that space should look like. But we're going to meet at the old space, do ceremony, and then walk to the new space. It's about 6-7 blocks away.
Wow.
And sort of bless that as well. Yeah, it's going to be really moving. And I know a lot of community folks are going to be there.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll be there. And one of the things, which was sad and awesome at the same time when Wendy and I were over there and the cleanup was happening, is that they did protect a lot of the art. They got a lot of the stuff out of there, and some of the things like the recordings of, we talked a little bit about KFAI, but the recordings that, all our great Native elders that were on KFAI, there were all these recordings that Melissa Olson got out of there in time.
Right.
Just crazy. But yeah.
Yeah, that was amazing. And for folks who don't know, Melissa Olson, a local Ojibwe woman, storyteller, media person, and she was doing an archive project for McGeezy at the time. And so the materials were well organized and they knew exactly what to go in and save. And since the protectors, the AIM protectors, the community protectors were looking after the property, they did have time to get a lot of the irreplaceable archives. Not everything. Some things did burn, I know, but a lot of the stuff was preserved, and we have a lot of community folks to thank for that.
Yeah, definitely. Geez, so what else is going on? We got like 4 minutes left here. This goes quick with you. It's really awesome. But what else is going on in Minneapolis?
Yeah, in the community, it's really great to have community events starting back up. And so in Minnesota, May is American Indian Month. It's kind of unique in the country. It was an initiative of the American Indian movement way back when to have this recognized. And usually, especially here in the Twin Cities and on the American Indian Cultural Corridor, here there's just a ton going on. Most organizations have an open house, a lot of resource sort of fairs, a lot of feasting, and that's, last year was completely canceled, and this year it's kind of trickling back in. And so last Saturday was the a powwow up in Columbia Heights, a suburb just north of Minneapolis. It was their Indian Ed sponsored powwow. It was great. You can tell there's just all this pent up demand by people. There was also a round dance at Little Earth of United Tribes, a Native Housing Development here in South Minneapolis. Things like that are happening. My organization, Native American Community Development Institute, or NACDI, is having an open house. We had to postpone it. It was supposed to be today, but was kind of cold and wet in Minneapolis today, so we postponed it to June 9th. So June 9th on the Cultural Corridor, Franklin and 15th. Come on down. We'll have Red Fever, the band, playing. It's a Cultural Corridor favorite. They're a band that used to play in the bars on Franklin way back when. Elders love it. We'll be having Indian tacos from Powwow Grounds, Bob Rice. We'll be hosting. It'll be just a good time. So it's a sense of coming back to life, coming back out and being together. And it feels really good.
It really, really does. And I think if you got one last thing to say, I'm going to let you go a little early so you can get ready for your KFAI show. But I really appreciate it. You got anything else before we let you go?
I could talk forever. You know that I'm a talker, but so I just also kind of let folks know that here in the urban community, we're really fairly well organized, at least the Native organizations, service, and other organizations. And next Tuesday, I'm excited about Urban Indian Roundtable that we'll be having with our congressional representative, Ilhan Omar, and she reached out to us. She's very good, very present in the Native community. So we'll be doing a roundtable with her so she knows what we want from her and how she can best represent our urban Indian community in DC.
Wow, that's really great. Wow, really. So, hey, thank you, Robert Lilligren, the Director of the Native American Community Development Institute. Thank you so much, as always, been in and break a leg on KFAI. And I don't mean that,
We're going to be we hang up here.
Yeah.
Right. Miigwech. Yeah. Thank you. See you next week.
Sounds great. Wow, Wendy, we really enjoy all our guests, but some are just more, a lot of fun. And Robert Lilligren is one of those, and he knows a lot what's going on. And I hope people all over the country that are listening to our show realize how much a gem that we have here in the Twin Cities with Robert Lilligren.
Yeah, and you could listen to him again at 7 o'clock on KFAI KFAI, and it's 90.3 FM in the Twin Cities.
Yeah, they have 100,000 watts. They're all over the place.
Yeah.
So, you know.
I'm sure you could listen to them anywhere, right? You could just find them online and tune in like, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like many people do for us, right?
Definitely.
Hey, great show again, Wendy. Really, I'm so proud of you and all the things that you're doing for our relatives.
Yes, our relatives are very important to me.
Yeah,
Yes.
and also, you know, a lot of our relatives too, I found out yesterday's show is our plants and their medicines. And so that's very important too. So I really appreciate you, appreciate Ogama. And I would like to end with these thoughts. If you're listening to the show, you are part of the resistance. From Chief Plentycoops, the ground on which we stand on is sacred ground. It is the blood of our ancestors. We need to mask up, resist, divest, join a group, and run for office. You've been listening to Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake, and I've been your host, Wakanjahade, Distant Thunder. I'd like to thank State Senator Smith from Wisconsin, Robert Lilligren, and Wendy Pilot for, you know, being my rock here and filling in time with some really great information. Ogama, always with the news you don't hear anywhere else. We're still here. We are the seventh generation.
Free Leonard Peltier. Stop line 3.
Hello, this is Ellie Krug with Ellie 2.0 Radio. Now my show will be on Saturdays from 10